What if the leader of your country was accused of dragging it toward legitimate communism? What if one of the most influential voices in the world called him out, exposing a chilling truth about censorship, corruption, and the erosion of freedom? Joe Rogan, the man with the world's largest podcast, just unleashed a scathing attack on Justin Trudeau, and his words are sending shockwaves across Canada and beyond. Rogan didn't hold back. He called Trudeau a dangerous leader and accused him of taking Canada down a path that could change the country forever.
Things become vindictive.
I don't even go to Canada anymore. I won't go to Canada for a UFC. I don't go over there.
But that's just the beginning. Rogan's explosive comments have sparked a firestorm of debate, raising questions about Trudeau's leadership, Canada's future, and whether the country is losing its identity. What exactly did Rogan say, and why are his words striking such a nerve? Trudeau's war on free speech. Justin Trudeau's leadership has been called many things, but Joe Rogan just gave it a label that's impossible to ignore: authoritarian. Rogan didn't mince words when he accused Trudeau of waging a war on free speech, pointing to Canada's controversial hate speech laws and internet censorship policies as proof.
Up there, they don't have a First Amendment. They have different laws. They have hate speech laws, which are very dangerous, because who defines hate speech? You know, like, so hate speech laws in Canada, they refer to gender pronouns now. So, like, not just male, female. Like, if a guy, like, if Caitlyn Jenner decides that she's a girl, like, Bruce Jenner decides he's a girl, now you have to call him Caitlyn. If you don't, that's hate speech. Like, okay, maybe that's debatable. Maybe you're being an asshole. But no, they want, like, all 78 fake genders, like Z, Zer, and all these fucking crazy fake ones, and they, thems, and...
Well, that's where, like...
And Rogan isn't alone in his concerns. Critics have long argued that Trudeau's government has weaponized these laws to silence dissent and enforce ideological conformity. Under Trudeau's leadership, Canada has passed laws that critics say blur the line between protecting citizens and controlling them. From mandatory gender pronoun laws to sweeping internet regulations, Trudeau's government has been accused of prioritizing political correctness over fundamental freedoms. But it doesn't stop there. Rogan highlighted the case of Jordan Peterson, the Canadian professor who rose to global fame after refusing to comply with compelled speech laws. Now, Peterson is being forced into a government-mandated re-education program to keep his professional license, a move Rogan called nothing short of bizarre.
Became a famous guy for speaking out against this. He's going through some sort of bizarre re-education process in Canada, and he's going to publicize it because it's so ludicrous. So they want to educate him on like what he talks about on social media if he wants to keep his clinical license to practice as a psychotherapist.
Oh, is that right?
But he doesn't want to practice anyway. He makes far more money doing what they've essentially made a monster. They made him way more famous than he ever would have been before. They highlighted all of Canada's problems way more than would ever get highlighted without this persecution of this guy.
Rogan didn't hold back when discussing the absurdity of forcing someone like Jordan Peterson into a government-mandated re-education program. Rogan pointed out that Peterson, a world-renowned intellectual and debater, is more than capable of dismantling the very arguments used to justify such authoritarian measures. In fact, Rogan mocked the idea of anyone from what he called Canada's creepy authoritarian totalitarian regime standing a chance against Peterson in a public debate.
It's kind of crazy, though. So he's going through it. He's like, fuck you. I'll go through it, and I'll go through it publicly. You guys are idiots. Also, you're going to have to
knowing what the outcome will be.
Well, knowing he's going to trounce them. Like, good luck debating that guy. Good fucking luck. Like, good luck. Like, who do you got on your side that's going to go up against that guy? Like, shut the fuck up. Who on your creepy, authoritarian, totalitarian regime is going to stand up and make sense competing against Jordan Peterson? Good fucking luck.
I wouldn't want the job.
Yeah, good luck. Good luck debating that guy. It's just
This isn't just about Peterson. It's about what his case represents. Rogan's comments highlight the broader issue of government overreach and the chilling effect it has on free speech. By targeting Peterson, the Trudeau government has inadvertently shone a spotlight on its own authoritarian tendencies, exposing the cracks in its narrative. As Rogan put it, forcing Peterson to go through it publicly is a losing battle for the government. one that only serves to further erode its credibility. Rogan argued that Trudeau's government has created a culture of fear, where dissent is punished and conformity is enforced. According to Rogan, this isn't just an attack on Peterson, it's a warning to all Canadians about the dangers of speaking out. And the consequences? They're already being felt. Canada, once known as a beacon of politeness and freedom, is now being compared to authoritarian regimes. Rogan himself lamented the loss of the Canada he once loved, a country he says has been transformed under Trudeau's leadership.
Some sort of meaningful change up there they could bring. I used to love Canada. I used to say Canada is like America, but with like 20% less douchebags. They were so friendly. They're so nice. I used to love going to Montreal. I used to love going to Vancouver. I loved it up there. But the woke shit hit there so hard because they don't have freedom of speech. They don't have a First Amendment. So when they start clamping down on your ability to express yourself, like there's really disastrous implications.
But how did Canada get here? And is there any way back? Before we continue, I'd like to ask for a small favor. If you're enjoying this content, please consider giving the video a like and subscribing to the channel. Fun fact, over 98% of viewers watch without subscribing. Your support makes a big difference and helps us keep creating content like this. Thanks so much for considering it. Now let's get back to the video. Trudeau's global reputation in freefall? Justin Trudeau's leadership isn't just under fire at home. It's becoming a global embarrassment. Joe Rogan didn't hold back when he described how Trudeau's policies are tarnishing Canada's once pristine reputation. What was once seen as a country of freedom and opportunity is now being viewed as a cautionary tale of government overreach and authoritarian control. Rogan pointed to Trudeau's handling of free speech and censorship as a warning sign for the rest of the world. But it's not just about laws. It's about the image Trudeau is projecting on the global stage. Critics argue that Trudeau's obsession with virtue signaling and political correctness has made him a laughingstock among world leaders.
Fuckhead, Justin, they pretend
you guys
that
are on first name basis.
Yeah, that cocksucker. They pretend that they're, and I don't talk this way about anybody.
No, I'm really surprised.
I genuinely despise people like that. And I think it's good to say it publicly because people need to understand like what these people are doing. These people are leading you on the road to legitimate communism. Like he's leading that country on a road to legitimate communism. It's very dangerous. And I think most Canadians are fed up with it.
And the cracks in Trudeau's global standing are becoming impossible to ignore. From his controversial handling of the Freedom Convoy protests to his government's sweeping internet censorship bill, Trudeau has faced backlash not just from Canadians but from international observers who see his policies as a dangerous precedent. Even Trudeau's allies are starting to distance themselves. European leaders, once seen as Trudeau's ideological partners, have openly criticized his approach to governance. And in the US, figures like Joe Rogan are using their platforms to call out what they see as Trudeau's failures. But perhaps the most damning critique is the growing perception that Trudeau is out of touch with the real struggles of Canadians. While he focuses on pushing progressive policies and controlling narratives, Canada is grappling with rising inflation, housing crises, and a healthcare system on the brink of collapse. Rogan's comments reflect a broader frustration, that Trudeau's leadership is more about appearances than substance. Trudeau's policies? Rogan also criticized Trudeau's economic policies, which he says have left Canadians struggling while the government focuses on ideological battles. From rising inflation to housing crises, Rogan painted a picture of a country where the government is more concerned with controlling narratives than solving real problems.
Because every government wants to eventually completely and totally control its population because it's way easier for them to make money. And that's what they like to do.
Yeah.
They like to make money. They like to be in bed with the lobbyists and the military-industrial complex and the pharmaceutical-industrial complex, and they like to fucking impose their will on people. And if you can't express yourself and say, hey, this is fucked up, this is crazy, why am I doing this?
Rogan's comments reflect a growing frustration among Canadians who feel abandoned by their leaders. He warned that Trudeau's policies are not just bad for Canada, they're a cautionary tale for the rest of the world. If governments can use fear and division to consolidate power in Canada, what's stopping them from doing the same elsewhere? The question now is whether Canadians will demand change, or whether Trudeau's divisive policies will continue to tear the country apart. Hope for meaningful change? Justin Trudeau's resignation marks a pivotal moment in Canadian politics, and Joe Rogan didn't hold back on what this could mean for the country. Rogan expressed cautious optimism, hoping that Trudeau's departure could pave the way for meaningful change under a new leader like Pierre Poilievre. However, he also warned of the dangers if Canada fails to seize this opportunity.
And I think most Canadians are fed up with it. At this point, it's just like the party up there has so much control. And he's been forced to resign, so he's got to step down. And just hopefully they don't get some new slick talker to con them into...
Rogan's concerns stem from what he sees as a growing authoritarian streak in Canada. He compared the country's trajectory under Trudeau to nations like Iran, where freedoms are severely restricted and government overreach is the norm. According to Rogan, Trudeau's policies have already set a dangerous precedent, and without a strong leader to reverse course, Canada could find itself on a path of no return.
But there will probably be a course correction now, which it seems like just generally on free speech issues, there's a radical course correction right now.
Sure, or you become Iran.
Oh, yeah. You roll
like,
that way.
Yeah, I mean, course correction doesn't always work. Like, you know, we think it works.
Rogan highlighted Pierre Poilievre as a potential leader who could bring about the change Canada desperately needs. Poilievre's focus on economic independence, free speech, and reducing government overreach aligns with what many Canadians are calling for. However, Rogan cautioned that the road ahead won't be easy.
But I hope that, you know, there's some sort of meaningful change up there that could bring... I used to love Canada. I used to say Canada is like America, but...
The stakes couldn't be higher. Trudeau's resignation is more than just a political shift. It's a chance for Canada to reclaim its identity as a free and fair nation. But as Rogan pointed out, this will require more than just a change in leadership. It will take a collective effort to undo the damage and ensure that Canada doesn't slide further into authoritarianism. As Canadians prepare for what's next, the world is watching. Will this be the moment Canada turns the page, or will it continue down a dangerous path? Canada is at a breaking point. With Trudeau gone, will Pierre Poilievre be the leader to pull the country back from the brink, or is Canada destined to spiral further into chaos? And what happens if the cracks in democracy grow even deeper? The future of Canada hangs in the balance, and the world is watching. What do you think comes next? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. This story is far from over. Stay tuned.